In the endless expanse of space, where stars were born and died in silence, the Vigilant cruised the border of known and unknown, a sentinel in the dark. Captain Marcus Reed stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the star-strewn void ahead, each star a reminder of the vastness of their mission and the smallness of their vessel within it. The bridge hummed quietly, a symphony of low beeps and the soft whirl of computers, a stark contrast to the storm raging in Marcus's heart. 5 years had passed since the Tempest Fury vanished without a trace, swallowed by the void expanse. 5 years of questions with no answers, until today. The alarm blared suddenly, slicing through the calm. "Unidentified vessel approaching, Captain." "It's the Tempest Fury," reported Lieutenant Serrano, her voice a mix of disbelief and urgency. The warship they had mourned as lost was now a ghostly silhouette against the backdrop of a dying star, its return as ominous as it was miraculous. Marcus felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The Tempest Fury was not just any ship. It was the very vessel where he had served his first commission under the mentorship of Admiral Hawkins. Its disappearance had left a gaping wound in the fleet and in his life. Now, it reappeared, not as a harbinger of relief, but as a storm of smoldering doom, under the command of the renegade General Sylvester Knox. The bridge crew turned to Marcus, awaiting orders. His jaw clenched as he grappled with the weight of the moment. This was more than a rescue mission. It was a confrontation with the past he couldn't forget, and a future he must now navigate. "Set intercept course," Marcus commanded, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Prepare all hands for potential combat. We don't know what Knox has done to the Fury, or what he's capable of now." As the Vigilant adjusted its trajectory, the stars blurred into streaks of light. Marcus walked over to the large viewport, his reflection ghosting over the endless canvas of space. The return of the Tempest Fury was a mystery wrapped in a threat, a puzzle he had to solve, for the sake of his old crew, his current crew, and the fragile peace that hung by a thread. This was his storm to weather, his doom to face, and he would meet it head-on. The conference room aboard the Vigilant was bathed in the harsh, artificial light that seemed to cast longer shadows with each passing moment, shadows that mirrored the growing tension among the assembled officers and crew. Captain Marcus Reed stood at the head of the long metallic table, his eyes scanning the serious faces of his senior staff. The holographic projector at the center flickered to life, displaying the looming ghostly image of the Tempest Fury as it drifted ominously closer to Galactic Hub Epsilon 7. 5 years, Marcus began, his voice resonant in the quiet of the room. 5 years since the Tempest Fury was lost to the void expanse. Now it returns, not as a friend, but as a potential harbinger of war under General Knox's command. He paused, letting the gravity of the situation sink in. "We need to understand what happened, how Knox took control, and most importantly, what his intentions are." Commander Helen Zhao, the ship's tactical officer, stood and activated another segment of the holographic display, which now showed schematics of the Tempest Fury. Initial scans indicate that the Fury has been heavily modified. Its armament capabilities have been enhanced significantly, and it appears to be carrying technology that's not from any known civilization within our coalition. Marcus nodded gravely. "Which likely means Knox has been exploring the deeper sectors of the void expanse, possibly encountering and repurposing alien tech." He turned to face his crew. "This isn't just about reclaiming a lost ship, it's about preventing a potentially catastrophic conflict." The room shifted as the ship's chief engineer, Lieutenant Alex Renard, spoke up. "The modifications on the Fury suggest advanced defensive and offensive systems, likely integrating the alien tech Commander Zhao mentioned. If we're to engage, we'll need to be cautious. Standard protocols might not be effective." Marcus considered this, his mind racing through scenarios. "Prepare all hands for unconventional tactics then. We need to be as unpredictable to Knox as he is to us." Security Chief Miguel Santos leaned forward, his brow furrowed in thought. "Captain, if Knox is as unstable as his actions suggest, he might not hesitate to use the Fury to make a devastating first strike. We should consider evacuation protocols for Epsilon 7 as a precaution. Agreed, Marcus said, making a mental note to coordinate with the station's command. Lieutenant Serrano, open a channel to Epsilon 7, alert them to the situation and advise them to start prep for non-combatant evacuation. Better safe than sorry. As the meeting drew to a close, Marcus laid out their approach strategy. We'll split into 2 teams. Team 1, led by me, will attempt to board the Fury and secure critical areas. Team 2, you will provide cover and engage only if absolutely necessary. Our goal is to avoid escalation. Nox may be expecting a direct assault, but we'll use stealth and precision to our advantage. The officers stood, a unified front of determination and resolve as they saluted their captain. Dismissed, Marcus concluded, the weight of command resting heavily on his shoulders. As the crew dispersed to their respective stations, Marcus lingered by the holographic displays, his gaze fixed on the spectral image of the Tempest Fury. The ship, now a symbol of treachery and lost hope, was a stark reminder of what was at stake. In his heart, he felt the familiar stir of duty and the ache of past losses. He knew that the path ahead was fraught with danger, but it was a path he must walk. Stepping out of the conference room, Marcus headed towards the bridge. Each step felt like moving against a current, a resistance formed by fear and uncertainty. But above all, there was a resolve, hardened like steel forged in fire. The Vigilant moved silently through the cosmos, a lone sentinel facing the darkness before the dawn. As the stars watched silently, Marcus Reed prepared to face whatever storm Nox might unleash. The shadows gathered, but so did the light. As the Vigilant sliced through the silent expanse of space, its engines humming a steady, relentless tune, Captain Marcus Reed stood alone in the observation deck. The stars outside painted a tapestry of infinite complexity against the black canvas of the universe. Ahead, the vast void expanse loomed, a region shrouded in as much mystery as peril, where the Tempest Fury had once disappeared. Marcus turned away from the window to face the large digital map displayed on the screen. It showed their current trajectory and the projected path of the Tempest Fury as it made its ominous approach towards Galactic Hub Epsilon 7. His fingers traced the glowing lines, each movement a calculated thought about their impending encounter. The Vigilant was now entering the outer boundaries of the void expanse, the region notorious for its unpredictable spatial anomalies and the disappearance of numerous vessels over the centuries. Marcus's eyes were drawn to a particular sector marked with a red X, the last known location of the Tempest Fury before its mysterious vanishing. A knot tightened in his stomach, the memories of lost comrades whispering through the corridors of his mind. "Captain Reed," came a voice over the intercom, breaking his reverie. It was Lieutenant Serrano, his communications officer. "We're approaching the initial waypoint. Sensors are picking up fluctuating energy readings and minor gravitational waves. It's consistent with the reports from the Tempest Fury's last known transmission." "Understood, Lieutenant. Keep monitoring the readings and inform me of any changes," Marcus replied, his voice steady despite the growing unease. He left the observation deck, his steps purposeful as he made his way to the bridge. Upon entering, he was greeted by the focused expressions of his crew, each member alert and ready at their station. The main view screen showed the swirling gases and distant stars of the void expanse, a beautiful yet foreboding sight. "Status report," Marcus commanded as he took his place in the captain's chair. Commander Zhao, standing by the tactical console, responded promptly. "We are now on full alert, Captain. All systems are operating within normal parameters, but I recommend we switch to manual navigation to better navigate the spatial disturbances reported in this region." "Proceed with that, Commander. Also, activate the cloaking device. Let's not announce our presence any more than we have to," Marcus ordered, his gaze fixed on the screen as he considered their stealth approach. As the Vigilant progressed further, the sensors began to pick up more frequent anomalies, sudden bursts of non-visible energy and distortions in the space-time fabric that made navigation increasingly challenging. The crew worked diligently, adjusting their course with precision to avoid the larger gravitational fields that could easily ensnare their ship like the many that had ventured here before. Suddenly, a soft alarm sounded, and the ship slightly shuddered, a reminder of the dangers lurking in this uncharted territory. "Report," Marcus demanded, gripping the arms of his chair as the lights flickered briefly. "We just grazed the edge of an uncharted micro-singularity, Captain. No damage to the hull, but it's a sign we're getting closer to the phenomena associated with the Tempest Fury's last signals," explained Chief Engineer Renard from his station. Marcus nodded, his mind racing with strategies. "Keep us moving, but let's remain vigilant. All hands be prepared for immediate evasive maneuvers on my command." The Vigilant continued its cautious voyage through the void expanse, each crew member tense with anticipation. Marcus felt the weight of his decisions, knowing that the choices made in the next few hours could very well determine the fate of not just his ship and crew, but potentially the entire galaxy. As they moved deeper into the heart of the void, the remnants of lost civilizations and derelict ships began to appear outside their windows, serving as somber reminders of the region's perilous nature. Marcus knew they were drawing closer to their quarry. The Tempest Fury and whatever secrets it held lay somewhere ahead in the dark, waiting like a slumbering beast. The dimly lit corridors of the Vigilant buzzed with a low current of apprehension as Captain Marcus Reed and his selected team donned their tactical gear. The air was thick with the metallic scent of ionization, a byproduct of the ship's stealth technology that now cloaked them from unwanted eyes. Each member of the team checked their equipment methodically, the soft clinks and clanks of armor and weapons intermingling with the steady hum of the ship. "Remember, this is a stealth mission. We get in, gather intel, sabotage their capabilities subtly, and get out. No heroics. We need to understand what Nox has done to the Tempest Fury, and if possible, disable any new tech he's integrated." Marcus briefed his team, his voice a whisper yet carrying a firmness that left no room for doubt. They gathered around the holographic table, displaying the layout of the Tempest Fury. The ghostly ship's image rotated slowly, sections highlighted to pinpoint their entry points and key areas of interest. "Commander Zhao, you lead Alpha Team to the engine room. If you can disable their propulsion or even just slow them down without detection, do it. I'll take Bravo Team to the bridge. We need to find out what Nox is planning," Marcus directed, pointing at the flickering hologram. Minutes later, they were in the launch bay. Two stealth pods, small and maneuverable, awaited them, their hulls matte black and nearly absorbing the weak light around them. Marcus clapped his second-in-command on the shoulder, a silent message of trust and camaraderie, before boarding the first pod. The launch was a silent affair, the pods ejecting from the Vigilant with only a soft hiss. Space enveloped them, vast and indifferent, as they coasted towards the behemoth that was the Tempest Fury. The ship loomed ahead, a titan among the stars, its surface a patchwork of old Federation designs and strange new technologies that glinted ominously under the light of distant suns. The approach was tense, each second stretching into eternity as they navigated through the debris field surrounding the warship, remnants of asteroids and possibly less fortunate vessels that had come too close. Marcus's eyes remained glued to the small viewport, watching for any signs of detection. They docked in silence, the seal of the airlock whispering shut behind them. The interior of the Tempest Fury was eerily quiet, the usual hum of life and machinery subdued, replaced by a strange pulsating glow that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the ship. "Electromagnetic pulse generators on," Marcus whispered into his comms, and the team activated the devices on their suits, designed to scramble any unauthorized electronic surveillance they might encounter. The infiltration was a slow, tense progression through the corridors of the Tempest Fury. Marcus led Bravo Team with a cautious precision, their movements a choreographed dance of stealth and vigilance. Every shadow could be a hiding place, every soft whir a sign of an alarm about to sound. They reached the bridge without incident, a testament to their training and Marcus's planning. The door slid open silently to reveal a scene of quiet chaos. Holographic displays flickered erratically, showing star maps and cryptic data in a language that Marcus didn't recognize. At the center, a device pulsed with an eerie light, clearly of alien origin and hooked directly into the ship's mainframe. Marcus approached the device, his heart pounding. This was it, the source of Nox's newfound power. He reached out, hesitated, then disabled it with a quick, practiced movement, the glow dimming as the ship's systems began to emit a low, keening wail of alarms. Time to go, he signaled, and the team retreated the way they had come, their mission a success but the danger far from over. As they hurried back to their pods, the ship groaned around them, a beast stirred into waking fury by their audacious trespass. The escape from the Tempest Fury was fraught with urgency. Marcus and Bravo team's footsteps echoed through the cold, dimly lit corridors, the ship now alive with the blaring alarms triggered by their sabotage. The once subdued hum of the vessel had escalated into a cacophony of warning klaxons that reverberated off the metal walls, urging them to quicken their pace. As they neared the docking bay, Marcus's comm crackled to life, Commander Zhao's voice cutting through the noise. Alpha Team extraction complete. We've disabled the auxiliary engines but encountered heavier resistance than anticipated. How's your exit looking, Captain? Almost clear, Marcus responded, casting a glance back at his team, ensuring no one was left behind. They rounded a corner and were met with a small squad of Nox's guards, unexpected but not unprepared for. A brief, intense skirmish ensued, the narrow corridor amplifying the sounds of gunfire and shouts. Using non-lethal tactics, they subdued the guards with swift precision, a testament to their rigorous training and Marcus's leadership. Breathing heavily, Marcus led his team into the docking bay, where their escape pods awaited. "Bravo team, let's move out," he commanded, his voice a firm anchor in the midst of chaos. They piled into the pods just as another squad of guards appeared, opening fire. The doors sealed with a hiss, and the pods detached, propelling them back into the void of space, away from the imminent danger. As the Vigilant came into view, a sense of momentary relief washed over Marcus, quickly replaced by the weight of impending confrontation. The information they had gathered needed urgent analysis, and plans for a counter-strategy against Nox's next moves had to be devised. Back aboard the Vigilant, Marcus convened an emergency meeting in the war room. The walls of the room, usually stoic and unyielding, seemed to pulse with the tension of their gathered intelligence. The alien device they had disabled on the Tempest Fury was now revealed to be a sophisticated navigational tool, possibly explaining how Nox had maneuvered through the void expanse with such unprecedented precision. "We've struck a significant blow, but this is far from over," Marcus addressed his senior officers. "Nox will retaliate, and we need to be ready. He's lost a major asset today, which might make him desperate or reckless." The team nodded, each member processing the gravity of their situation. Marcus continued, "We'll use the data from the device to anticipate his routes and set up blockades. But more importantly, we need to communicate with Galactic Hub Epsilon 7. They must be warned about Nox's capabilities and the potential threat he poses not just to us, but to all allied territories." Commander Zhao added, "The tech we've captured could also offer defensive advantages if our engineers can reverse engineer it in time. It's unlike anything we've seen, and its potential is—" Her words were cut off by another officer entering the room, a young ensign with a pale face and urgent steps. "Sir, long-range sensors have just picked up a distress signal. It's from a civilian convoy, directly in the path of the Tempest Fury. They're sitting ducks if Nox decides to strike." Marcus's jaw tightened, his resolve hardening. "Prepare the fleet. We move out immediately to intercept. Protecting those civilians is now our top priority. We'll bring this storm to Nox before he can unleash his fury on them." As the team dispersed to carry out their orders, Marcus took a moment to stand by the observation window, gazing out at the stars. The universe seemed indifferent to their plight, its vast expanse a stark reminder of their isolation. Yet, beneath that serene facade, A storm was brewing. A storm Marcus was determined to weather. He turned from the window, his silhouette etched against the cosmos, a figure of determination and duty. The confrontation with Nox was inevitable, and Marcus Reed was ready to face it head-on. The Vigilant surged through space, its engines pulsing rhythmically as it raced against time to intercept the Tempest Fury before it could reach the vulnerable civilian convoy. Captain Marcus Reed stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the data streaming across the various displays, each piece of information critical to their mission's success. "Time to intercept," Marcus asked, his voice steady despite the urgency of their situation. 14 minutes to optimal range, Captain, replied Lieutenant Serrano, her fingers flying over her console as she adjusted their trajectory for maximum speed. Marcus nodded, his mind racing through strategies and contingencies. Communications. Open a channel to the convoy. Warn them to initiate emergency protocols and prepare for evasive maneuvers. I don't want them sitting targets if we don't make it in time. As the communications officer relayed Marcus's orders, the tactical display updated with real-time movements of the Tempest Fury. The warship, still formidable, despite the sabotage inflicted upon it, was closing in on the convoy. Its intentions undoubtedly hostile. Engineering. Divert all non-essential power to shields and weapons. We're going to need every bit of firepower we can muster, Marcus commanded, turning his attention to Commander Zhao, who was coordinating the ship's defensive systems. Shields are at maximum capacity, Captain. All weapon systems are fully operational and ready to engage, Zhao confirmed, her eyes locked on the sensor readouts displaying the approaching threat. The tension on the bridge was palpable, a thick cloud of focus and anticipation. Every crew member knew the stakes, lives hung in the balance, and the Vigilant was all that stood between the civilians and potential disaster. As they drew closer, the Tempest Fury came into visual range, a dark behemoth against the backdrop of stars. It was a menacing sight, its hull marked with scars and strange alien technologies that glowed ominously. Visual on target. The Tempest Fury is arming weapons, Captain. They've spotted us, reported the tactical officer, his voice tense. Hold course. All hands, brace for engagement, Marcus declared, gripping the edges of the command console. On my mark, initiate evasive pattern Sigma 3 and target their weapon systems. Let's blind them before they can do any real damage. The Vigilant shuddered as it entered the firing range of the Tempest Fury. The first volley of enemy fire blazed past, illuminating space with deadly streaks of energy. The bridge crew flinched instinctively, but the ship's enhanced shields held firm. Now, Lieutenant, Marcus barked. Serrano executed the evasive pattern, the Vigilant dipping and weaving through space with surprising agility for its size. Simultaneously, their weapons unleashed a precise barrage, targeting the vulnerabilities previously identified in their infiltration mission. The strategy paid off. Several key systems aboard the Tempest Fury sparked and fizzled as the shots found their mark, causing minor explosions along its hull. The enemy warship's return fire stuttered, losing its deadly accuracy. Direct hits on multiple targets, Captain. Their weapon systems are compromised, Zhao reported, a hint of triumph in her voice. Good work, maintain pressure, and keep us moving. Helm, take us on a pass close to their starboard side. Target their propulsion next. I want them stationary, Marcus instructed, his gaze fixed on the forward screen where the Tempest Fury loomed large. As the Vigilant swooped past the crippled warship, its cannons fired again, this time aiming at the engines. The impact was immediate and effective. The Tempest Fury's forward momentum faltered, its engines sputtering out in a spectacular display of sparks and debris. Propulsion hits confirmed, Captain. They're losing speed rapidly, the helmsman called out. All right, let's finish this, Marcus said, a cold determination settling over him. Prepare to board the Tempest Fury. We're going to take control and end this threat once and for all. As the Vigilant maneuvered into position, Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with a grim satisfaction. They were moments away from ending Nox's reign of terror, from saving innocent lives, and potentially from changing the course of conflict in the galaxy. The battle for control was nearly complete, but the war, the one fought in the shadows of men's hearts, that was far from over. The Vigilant loomed ominously over the crippled Tempest Fury, casting a shadow across its battered hull as Marcus Reed and his strike team prepared for the final phase of their mission. Inside the airlock, the atmosphere was tense, charged with the adrenaline and resolve of seasoned soldiers on the brink of a pivotal confrontation. "Check your gear, and remember, we need Nox alive if possible. He has answers we need," Marcus instructed, securing his own tactical vest. His eyes met those of his team members, each nod reflecting a shared resolve and mutual understanding of the stakes involved. The airlock doors hissed open, revealing the breached hull of the Tempest Fury. Marcus led the way, his magnetic boots thudding softly against the metal floor as they entered the enemy ship. The corridor was dimly lit, emergency lights casting eerie shadows along the walls, flickering as if in sync with the uncertain fate of the ship itself. The team moved in a tight formation, communication kept to hand signals and brief, whispered commands. They encountered light resistance, likely due to most of the crew being incapacitated or disoriented by the damage inflicted on their ship. Each corner turned and each door breached brought them closer to their quarry, General Sylvester Knox. Reaching the command center, Marcus signaled a halt, his hand raised. He turned to his team, a silent nod enough to convey his orders. Two members set up a breaching charge, the soft beep of the device almost drowned out by the distant echoes of the damaged ship groaning under its own weight. The charge detonated with a muffled thump, the door blowing inwards in a cloud of smoke and debris. Marcus was the first through, pistol drawn, his senses heightened to every movement, every potential threat. The command center was chaos incarnate, consoles sparking, screens shattered, and in the midst of it all stood General Knox, defiant even in defeat. "Knox, it's over," Marcus called out, his weapon trained on the general. "Stand down and surrender." Knox, his face a mask of fury and frustration, laughed a hollow, bitter sound. "Over? No, Captain. It's far from over. You think stopping me here changes anything?" Marcus stepped closer, his team fanning out behind him, securing the room. "You're done terrorizing innocent people, Knox. This ends now." As if on cue, the ship lurched violently, a reminder that the Tempest Fury was still critically damaged and unstable. Marcus glanced briefly at the structural integrity readings on a nearby console. Time was running out. "Surrender, Knox. We can protect you back at Galactic Hub Epsilon 7. You have information we need about the void expanse and the technologies you've encountered." Marcus tried, his voice firm yet offering an olive branch. Knox sneered, then surprisingly, dropped his weapon, raising his hands. "Very well, Captain. Arrest me if it makes you feel like you've won. But know this, the forces at play are greater than you can imagine. This war, it's just beginning." Marcus nodded to his team, who moved in to secure Knox. As they handcuffed him, Marcus couldn't shake the unease that settled in his gut. Knox's words echoed in his mind, a dark premonition of challenges yet to come. With Knox in custody, the team made their way back to the Vigilant. As they departed the dying Tempest Fury, Marcus took one last look at the warship. What had begun as a mission to retrieve a lost vessel had evolved into something far greater, a battle for the future of the galaxy. Back aboard the Vigilant, Marcus watched through the viewport as the Tempest Fury was finally consumed by a controlled explosion, its remnants scattering across the void. Knox, now a prisoner, was under heavy guard, his cryptic warnings a puzzle for another day. Marcus felt the weight of command heavier than ever as he considered their next moves. The victory today was clear, but the war, as Knox had said, was just beginning. The final stand had been made, but the battle lines for the future were still being drawn. As the remnants of the Tempest Fury floated like ghostly echoes through space, the Vigilant set a course back to Galactic Hub Epsilon 7, its mission completed, but the implications of their actions only just beginning to unfold. The crew, exhausted yet buoyed by their success, attended to their duties with a renewed sense of purpose, each one aware of the delicate balance they had helped preserve. Captain Marcus Reed stood in his office, gazing out at the star-strewn expanse, reflecting on the events that had transpired. General Knox was now confined in the brig, a silent testament to the cost of ambition unchecked by morality. The alien technologies retrieved from the Tempest Fury were secured in the lab, their secrets locked away until they could be understood and perhaps integrated for the benefit of the Coalition. Marcus turned as Commander Zhao entered, her expression somber yet relieved. "The engineers are examining the tech we brought back. It's unlike anything we've seen, and Epsilon 7 has been notified. They're preparing for Knox's trial," she reported, her voice steady. "Thank you, Commander," Marcus replied, his mind already racing ahead to the trials and diplomatic maneuvers that awaited them. "Keep me updated on any developments with the alien technology. Whatever Knox was planning, it's crucial we understand it fully." "Yes, Captain." And the civilian convoy sent their thanks. "They're calling you a hero," Zhao added, a faint smile breaking through her professional demeanor. Marcus chuckled softly, a sound more of resignation than amusement. "Hero today, but tomorrow. We keep doing our job, Zhao, no matter what titles they give us." The conversation shifted as they discussed the reintegration of the Tempest Fury's crew members, who had been liberated from Knox's influence. Rehabilitation and debriefing sessions were scheduled, and Marcus knew that rebuilding their trust and confidence would be another battle in itself. As the Vigilant approached Galactic Hub Epsilon 7, the massive structure came into view against the backdrop of its dying star, a beacon of civilization on the frontier of human expansion. The hub was alive with activity, ships of all sizes and designs docking and departing, a symphony of commerce and cooperation that was the lifeblood of the galaxy. Marcus, now on the bridge, watched as they docked, the familiar clank and hiss of the airlocks sealing a comforting sound of arrival. "Prepare for debarkation," he ordered, his voice echoing slightly in the hushed environment of the bridge. Stepping off the Vigilant, Marcus was met by a delegation from the hub, their faces a mixture of gratitude and curiosity. Cameras flashed as reporters gathered, eager to capture the hero of the hour, but Marcus was focused on the faces of the civilians they had saved. Their expressions of relief and thanks were the only accolades he needed. The days that followed were a whirlwind of briefings, meetings and planning sessions. Knox's trial was set, and the ramifications of his actions were debated at the highest levels. Throughout it all, Marcus remained a central figure, his expertise and recent experiences vital to the discussions of security and diplomacy. As the initial flurry of activity settled, Marcus found himself at a memorial on Epsilon 7, dedicated to those lost to the void expanse. He stood there alone, the names etched into the stone a somber reminder of the cost of exploration and conflict. Reflecting on the past, Marcus felt a clarity about the future. They had faced darkness and prevailed, but the galaxy was vast, and their journey was far from over. With the Vigilant by his side and his crew behind him, he was ready to face whatever challenges awaited.